Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian Report for the 18th of January, starting with the ASX 200 here. From this current low, pretty much with all global markets, we're trying to figure out if we have an impulse wave to the upside or we have a corrective wave. So as a corrective wave, we would be looking at an A and a B and a C into the 50-60% retracement level, and then we would see a move down. If we're going to see 5 waves, then we can label this as wave 1 and 2 and 3 here, and then we'll see an A, B, C for 4 here, and then up for 5 here. So we really need the top of wave 3 to play out here, and then we need to gather the evidence in here to see if it's a corrective pattern that's pulled back or if it's an impulse wave that's pulled back. Let's go in and have a look. So on the 4-hour chart here, I've got this here as the first move up here as wave 1 or wave A, wave 2 or wave B for this low, and then we're looking up here for wave 3, 4 and 5, or just to wave C here, and then we finish. So from wave B here to wave 3 or wave C, we're looking for 5 waves. So we've got wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then we're going up for wave 3 here, and within wave 3 here we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 within this little structure here. So we still need wave 4 here and wave 5 to play out to get to these ones here. So this is what it looks like in this particular market. When I look at it on the hourly chart, I'll just sort of here I'm just overlaying the US situation as well. So in this case here, we know that if I can just move this here, we've got a wave 1 or wave A there, wave 2 or wave B here. Just clean this up a little bit. We'll need those a little bit later over here. So from this low here and the current move up here, so we can see from wave B here, in green here, we've got wave 1 and 2. And I'm looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in here, and then up for 5 here. But in the US, on the S&P 500, we've got it labeled a little bit differently. So where see how I've got this wave 3 here dulled out, and wave 4 here and wave 5 here. So on the US markets, the 5 waves that we're tracking in this particular trend to the upside would have 5 waves here and not wave 3 here. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful within this particular structure here as well. So our trades to the upside here, if we've entered in this area here, we've been moving the stops up. So I've moved the stop up. We were looking for another entry on top of group 1 from yesterday, if you remember. So we're looking at that on the 5-minute chart. So group 1 from 800 is 10, 20 and 30. I won't go into that trade setup here again, but we were looking for support on it. And as you can see that the market spent a lot of time here on top of the 30 here. So you can really see what I mean by once it finds support on this top of number 3 here, it separates the order flow from being pulled back to this number here and starts to look up at 5. And then the next level up here, of course, is group 2. So that's 65, roughly 72 and 80 in here. So this will be the next target area within this space here. This is going to show the resistance here. We normally put the 72 in an orange color, because in those 3 levels there's actually a lot of other numbers within here too that are really important, but I just really show the skeleton and then highlight the most important number here, the 72 here. So the market at the moment is at the 50 here, 58.50, and it will probably it will need to establish that as support before moving higher through here. But within this here, we can see from wave 4 here, we've got wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, so we're still looking for a little bit more upside there. And also too, I might just have a quick look at the US markets here as well. the S&P 500. Just to show you here, the same thing is occurring here, but in this case from the low here we've got wave A or wave 1, wave B or wave 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then going up for the 5 waves here. So we're nearly there in terms of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So we're looking for little 5 waves in here of 1 and 2 and 3. There'll be a 4 and a 5 here. So that's, that's where that can end here. And once again, for the US markets, we're looking, do we have wave C top in here, or do we come back for wave 4 and then push up again through here? So it's also too in this box here, the 50% retracement level, and we don't need this in here, and the 61.8% retracement level, which comes in our target area here of 26.27. So we're quite close to that. So yeah, I mean, it can push higher. And Friday in a bullish market is in a bullish trend, following the bullish weekly cycle. We would see normally Friday be the bullish day, and following through on Monday. So if it does push higher, then we'll be looking at a corrective pattern across the 2650 area here, which is the halfway mark between two important levels, the 2500 and the 2800. So this is where this will play out here. Okay, so it's just important to know where that US market is. So, and there's a slightly different count between those two markets, the Australian market and the US market. So let's move on to the rest of Asia, and we'll start with the Nifty here. And with the Nifty here, and also the Australian market, and also the Japanese market, the Nikkei, we can have wave 3 over here, an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here for wave 4, and then moving up here. So I've dulled these out here, because if this was a corrective move up to this base, then we can look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to move higher in here. And yeah, so I'm not sure about that. I can also count this in a bullish fashion here as well. So yeah, it's, as I mentioned before, it's very difficult to get 5 waves up through here, and especially on the Nikkei as well. That's even more pronounced in terms of 3 waves moving up here. And the ASX 200 is a little bit like this, but even more tucked away, even more difficult to see the ABC or the 5 waves here. So yeah, there's different ways to count this, so we're just going off what we know. So let's just go in and have a look at this here. So on the 4-hour chart here, we've got that ABC pattern here. So from the low here, it can be counted as an A and a B and a C for the A wave, and then a triangle here for the B wave, and then that means we would see 5 waves up for the C wave, which should be the 1 and the 2 here, and then going up for 3 here, 4 and 5 to finish. It'll take us higher than the 61.8% mark here. But let's see how we go. We can see that all this space here is the resistance. So you can imagine that if the market does push up, it's going to come back and sit on there and check it as support. And then if it moves up and makes a new high again, then we've got a bullish market in our trend at that point. So that bullish market would look like this. So from the wave 4 low here, then we could look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, an A and a B and a C for 4, and up for 5 for 1, and back for 2 here, and then up for 1, and an A and a B and a C for 2 here. That 2 could also go over here as well. It's just not displaying a nice 5-wave sequence in this little space here, so I'm taking a conservative look at it. And then up for 1 and back for 2 here, and then up for 1 and back for 2. So that's already put us in a long position here. So on the hourly chart here, we're looking for this. Last time we spoke, we were being triggered here. Got our stop here out of the way of the 61.8% mark, and that's come back down here now. So I can remove these. Lines here. So we can move our stop up now that the market's done that particular test to the downside here. We can move it up into here, because at this stage of the game, we know that we just want to really leave it out of the way of the 61.8%. I know that if we took this low here, for instance, I know we've only got 3 waves up there, but just as a bit of a thing to place safe stops there, we can see if you always take the low and the high, even though the structure's not finished in 5 waves moving up, but if you always take the high here and then keep the stop under the 61.8%, then you're going to be safe at that point, you know. So, and you should be safe, you know. If you overtrade, then you'll have to put the stop always closer, and then if the market does spike or does something, then then you're out of the market. So trading less is more, so keeping the stop out of the way here and getting a little bit closer to the break-even point. So if you're risking 1% on the trade, the first thing to do is to reduce that 1% to 0.5%. And sometimes it's not always 0.5%. Sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less. But generally aiming for that. But you have to set that up technically. Alrighty, let's move on to China next here. So for China here on the daily chart here, I've got this as wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then we've got the A, the B and the C for 4 and down for 5 to make wave 3, the triangle for wave 4, and then having 5 waves down here. So it's possible to have a low in there. If that low is in place, then we'll be going up to the 13,000. If I've made a mistake, we'll go to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, and then we'll come down for one more move here. So all we can do here is, and the same with the Hong Kong market, is just pretty much track what we've got up here. The market is moving up in line with the rest of the world, and it's having its little spurts, but it hasn't moved a lot compared to the other markets. But let's just go in and have a quick look at that. So it's moving up reasonably well here in this particular space, and I can count it in different ways, but the way that I have counted it so far is this manner here. So wave 1 here, wave 2 here. This does count, I've checked, it does count as 5 waves to here, so I need to call it wave 3, and then wave 4. I could also call this wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 here. So in that case, if I went to have these as 1 and 2 of 1 degree, the next smaller degree is 1 and 2, and the next smaller degree is 1 and 2, then the market will push higher quite quickly here in a sequence in wave 3, third of a third of a third. So it should pick up speed. So I'll just need to wait for that speed if that's going to be the case. So we've been long across the top here, and I've moved the stop up from wherever it was down here into this space here. So keeping it below the 61.8% from this low to this high here. This high here too is also a Fibonacci resistance zone here. So we're obviously going to see the market dance around here as we are. But once that finishes, we should see the market move higher into the 11,000 here, and of course if it moves to the 11,000, if that's the case, we'll see something like see something like this here before moving higher through here. So let's see how that goes. So this count can be counted, and it can be counted as a corrective move up here as well. Don't really have a lot of evidence, but whichever way we look at it, it doesn't seem to be completed at this stage here. So I'll just save that. And the Hong Kong market, so with Hong Kong, as I've talked about before, we've got wave 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then all the way down for the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave here for the wave 3. And this is a corrective move here. And I can get 5 waves out of here, as I've mentioned before. So it's possible to have this wave 5 here. But if I'm wrong, and this going back on this wave 3 here, then this would make this an A wave here, a B wave here, and 5 waves for the C wave here, coming back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree as wave 4, and then we would come down to wave 5 here. So it's possible to turn lower from here. So with that in mind, we're looking at, well, we're looking for the move up here. Well, in this case, we'd be looking at it from wave 3. Here's an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here. And you can see where I get the 5 waves here, which is wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 here is not the shortest because wave 4 and then wave 5 here is the shortest. But we do get that overlapping wave structure here. I'm kind of okay with that. It may not be the case, but I'm kind of okay with it because it's at such a large number here. And also China's moved higher and the rest of the world has moved higher as well. So maybe this little journey was just cut short and pulled around by the rest of the world. But in a nutshell, what we have to do now is that if this is going to be wave C here, then we need to, from B to C, we need to be looking at 5 waves. So at the end of 5 waves, then this market can run into trouble at that point. And in terms of those 5 waves, from the low here, I can count this quite clearly as 1 and 2 here, and then the 3rd wave up here, and the 4th wave here, and then the 5th wave here. So we may have a top in play already in this space. There may be one more little high here, but it doesn't matter. We had a long trade to here, we've taken profit here, we've gotten out. Let's just see what we've got here. This move up here probably could also be counted in line with some of the other markets of wave 1 and wave 2 here, and wave 3 and 4 and 5, and have one more move up here. But I'm not prepared to go long just yet. If we were going to go long again here, then we would need a setup on the 27,000. So the 27,000 is the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then an A and a B and a little C correction, and then moving up. And then we can go long here, or long and add to the position here, or go through this way here as well. But just make sure you're on the 27, got some sort of, on a 5-minute chart or tick chart, you've got support on the 27 at that particular point there. So let's just see how this plays out from this point. And yeah, I mean, the other point here too, these 5 waves up here can take us back as an ABC back into this space here, and then move up through here. So up for 1 here, copy that, back for 2 here, and then moving up from there. But that's that's a long way off just yet. But let's just see how we go with the rest of the markets. I mean, it really it's all sort of pivoting on the US markets at the current level, at a 61.8% retracement level at 26.27, or the 26.50 area there. So it could still take a good few days to play out. Well, I mean, even longer. I mean, it could take like a week to 5 trading days to make that top, make a turn, but enough of a turn that we can recognize some of the internal structures within that pattern to make some decisions on direction. And the Japanese market. So in this case here, yeah, okay. So anyway, from wave B here, I was counting down as 1 and 2, nice strong 3rd wave. I was looking at this as the 4th and the 5th. Once again, like the Hong Kong market, it's cut off short here. So we had this played out, as you remember, as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave to here. But when this top got taken out here, then it kind of puts it in a different perspective, into a more bullish perspective. So now we have to remain bullish. And we would only go bearish if this, if the 20,000 was breached here. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. On the hourly chart here, we're looking at wave 3, 4, and 5 here to have that low in, and then looking at this as wave 1, and ABC back for wave 2. And then we were looking for the next move up, which was in 5 waves, which is 1 and 2. Nice strong 3rd wave here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 4, and then wave 5 here, and then pulling back 50 or 60%. So we don't need this here. It's all played out. It's not perfect. It's a little bit sort of drunken man walking home here, but those lines generally got us in the right place here. So that should be in play here now in this case. So what we can do now, first things first. So if we've made a new high here, then we can go long from this point here, and then we can also bring that stop up into this base here. So it does help protect those positions here. So I'll just leave that out of the way there. You can put it a little bit higher, but what we need to be looking at here, I'll just get this moved up here a little bit. So from roughly that high here, I'll just go a bit shorter here because I've missed the boat there. So right here and right now, this is the resistance area through here. So if it's going to fail, that's where it's going to fail from. And also while we're here, we can also, excuse me, we can grab this low and I'll just grab the top here. And then this is just really more for stops and to see what's expected. So the market can pull back here. So the market can pull back and bounce off the 20,300 area here. So we just need to be mindful of that. If the market moves through this level here and becomes the resistance here, then we're going to be coming further down from that point there. But otherwise, we'll see this move up here in 5, a little ABC here, and then move up from that point. So if that's the case, once that high there comes in, then we can use this guy over here. So if I can move him back here, just put that on top there. We still need that top to come into play here. Okay, so we can get in earlier from here, but we needed the market to, to move into play. So all this is at risk. So let's just see how we go here. I mean, 1 is the strongest number, and then 5 is the second strongest number. So having support on top of the 5 here is going to be really helpful. I mean, it's really nice to see that we've got 20,000 here, which is a major trading level, and then we've got the minor trading levels, which is 1, 2, and 3, and 5, and then 8. It's good to see that the markets doesn't sort of look much, but all this over here, if the market finds support on group 1 here, the top of group 1, which is number 3, then the market will push higher. So in a nutshell, we can see that the market's tried to get support here, hasn't done it, has failed here as well, moved up and has come back, and so really it has migrated across number 3 here from being resistance to support now. So that's a really good thing. So in basically walking up the steps, we've got support on 20, which is fantastic, and then we've got support on top of 3 here. It's still a bit dodgy. It can still fail from here. So what we're looking for next is this number here. This next level here will secure the move to the upside. So that's what we're looking for. But there's still a bit more to play out for this, but we're okay with this for the time being. Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that here. And yeah, so in fact, what we can do here is copy this. That looks like I'll have to check on the intraday. I can see that that's the high, of course, but I need to check if we've actually got 5 waves in here. I need to check if that's a B wave. I need to check if this top needs to go over into this space here as well. So a little bit of work to do there, but I'll check on that later. Alrighty, enjoy the weekend. Cheers.